Hi, welcome everyone. I'm joined today by author Angela Hare. She is the brand new author of this brand new book, Enriching the Art of Care. And I just wanted to have a wee chat with her and see like what the thought process was behind this book, because obviously it is about your professional experience, your personal experience. It's incredible, like the amount of work that you've put into this. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me and ask you a few questions.
Sure, nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. Okay, so first of all, just so we have a little bit of a background, can you tell me a little bit about homeopathy, what's involved in it, and kind of what you offer your clients as well?
Sure. So homeopathy is the idea of like cures like, and it's a principle. It's not an idea that is out of somebody's head. It's something that has always been there for all of us to use. So the simplest idea of this is that if you have a cup of coffee in the morning and it makes you all zingy, which
Yep.
does for lots of people, including myself.
Yes, me too.
If I were to dilute coffee into the energetic realm instead of taking it as a material substance, that remedy would then calm down my symptoms.
Okay.
So the thing that causes the problem can be used to calm down the symptoms and actually remove them totally.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. So what kind of things do you offer your clients then? Like if they come to you with a specific problem?
Well, at the moment, it's ongoing problems with COVID, of course. This has been a huge one over the last 4 years. And so people have been asking me for help with if they've had COVID, if they want to try and avoid COVID, or if they've had the COVID vaccines, which have caused a lot of damage for some people. So yes, that's been the last 3 or 4 years have been very busy.
Yes, I can imagine. COVID's still an ongoing little thing, but it's great that we have people like you who are helping in this way as well.
Yes.
So awesome.
Yeah. So in chapter, I think it's 8 of my book, I've got a chapter that's called COVID under the skin, irritation under the skin. Because for me, it was a very irritating time because I'd been in hospital in 2019 and I've got a brain tumor and I'd had my 3rd brain operation, and I managed to get the hospital bug called MRSA from being in the hospital, because they put me in a quarantine room. So I think it was up in the air conditioning. So all through the next few years, when I released this MRSA onto my skin, I was scratching and irritated, and it coincided with the COVID years. So it was a really interesting expression in my skin of what was going on in the community.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to what a lot of people are going through as well. It is that itch, like it's something that's just there, and we kind of can't fix it straight away, and it's just kind of nagging. And yeah, I get it. That's really, really nice kind of line to connect.
It was caused by a staphylococcus bacteria, and I've used the homeopathic version of staphylococcus to help to fix it on my skin.
Okay. Wow, this is amazing to just kind of learn this stuff. It's really nice. So you mentioned that in your book that your grandfather's story, there was a story that inspired you to write this book. Can you tell me a little bit about it, and what about the story made you want to tell your story?
So the story is called Hans and the Keyflower, and my granddad on my mother's side used to tell us, all us cousins, this story, and it's about Hans being visited by an old man in the winter and being told that if he can pick his key flowers, he'll open a cave of riches. So of course Hans goes off in the springtime looking for this special valley and picking this flower, and eventually he finds it and he picks it. But what happens when he picks the flowers is that this cave opens and inside are all these riches. So he stuffs his pockets with them. He's absolutely enamored with all of this wealth. And just as he's about to leave the cave full of jewels, forget the most important thing. And he thinks he's forgotten something. So he goes back in to look for something else. But once again, as he's leaving, the elf says, don't forget the most important thing. And after this has happened a few times, he eventually just leaves the cave. And when he leaves the cave, he realizes, oh my goodness, I've forgotten the Keyflowers. And the cave has closed and all his wealth has turned to dust.
Wow.
So I just thought that was a fascinating little story for my granddad to tell us.
Yeah.
And is really the story of our lives, that we go off in different directions looking for things that will get us passionate and get us excited about being on earth, having a life, a human life. And so this book is really about all the different Keyflowers that I have picked over the years and how they have helped me to stay alive. Because obviously when you get a brain tumour diagnosis, and mine was probably from having fluorine tablets when I was 5 months old. Would you believe that they gave 5-month-old babies fluoride, which is now known as a neurotoxin?
Yeah.
I got it back in the early 60s, and it's been quietly growing. This tumour has been quietly growing in my head until in the once I was in my late 50s, it started to show itself.
Right.
And so the book is really about all these different journeys that I've been on and how they've helped me to open my cave of riches, which is not necessarily a cave of wealth. It's a cave of feeling passionate about life.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think that's really the key to enjoying life as well. I think that too many of us forget that. So yeah, the Keyflowers to your life. I love that. That is something I think I'll take with me for a long time, and I hope other people do too. Really, really nice way to put it.
And at the end of the book, I rewrite the story so that Hans is not quite as greedy as he was. And he shares his wealth. And that is really a very interesting idea of human consciousness, that we don't keep all our wealth for ourselves, but that we share it.
Yeah, which is another way to just be much happier with yourself as well. Share the wealth around. I love that.
Yeah.
How have you found writing this book? Because this is the first one that you've kind of gone from start to finish. It's published. Were there any lessons along the way that you weren't quite aware of at the time?
Well, it's not actually my first book, it's my second book.
Whoops.
Back in the 1980s, I edited a book called Muriwai and Beyond in Gisborne. And that was full of stories from an elderly woman who just wrote handwritten letters about her life in Muriwai. And it was such an wonderful experience to do that.
Yeah, I bet.
But it was 1980s and it was all typed up in black and white photos and it wasn't very glamorous. But I having done that, I knew that writing another book would be possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really inspired me was my daughter throwing me The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which is a wonderful book about how creative beings want to find human collaborators to help them to express creativity. And that really rang a bell for me. That was the idea that I just needed to be at my computer and it would all download. And that was my experience in that first year in 2019, after I'd had my third brain operation. It was just like the switch came at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up and I'd be at my computer and it all came on.
Wow.
But then once the COVID years came, there was a big shift that happened at that time, and I really had to put the book aside and not even look at it for a while. I'd written 20 chapters, and I thought I'd completed it. But then, it came to 2023, and I suddenly thought, I don't like reading big books. I just want a small one that I can read in bed. So I cut it in half. And that's when I really started to focus on the Keyflowers idea.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know that the Keyflowers is something that, especially after like describing your story, how your grandfather's story and how that's sort of interwoven into your book, that's a really, really big part that I think people should take away for sure. But if there's one thing besides that your readers could take away from this book, what do you hope that is?
Well, it's really to keep searching for the cave. The cave is the dark inside us. It's where our little elf lives, and our elf is ourself. So it's our intuitive messaging that comes from the universal energy field. Now that's the scientific concept, the energetic energy field. And traditionally, it's always been known as God.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it's got a different name now.
Yep.
It works in the same way. We can ask for messages and get messages.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's powerful. Okay.
It's really powerful to be able to tune into that for our clients and for ourselves. Gives us all the messages that we need to be able to know which is the right way to go in life.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
And one of the really interesting experiences I had in the hospital was that when I took Pamol, it became black in this part of my head, and I could no longer get intuitive messages.
It clouded you.
It clouded me.
Yeah.
So I stopped taking Pamol, or I just took it when I wanted to go to sleep and not have messages coming into me intuitively.
See. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. I am wondering as well, like, what would you say to anyone that is curious about homeopathic medicine but doesn't really know if it's for them? Maybe they think they need something else in their life, but are not quite sure. Maybe this is the way to go if they're not really. Yeah, what would you suggest to them?
Go and see a homeopath in your local area. Go and experience it, because homeopathy is experiential medicine. And I often will take one dose of it and I can just feel it shifting stuff in my body.
Yeah.
And it's just information. It's information coming into our energy field and bringing a harmony or a vibration or a resonance, so that then the body knows which way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, that seems like the best way to go forward. Experience it for yourself. You can't really know if anything is for you unless you try it. So, of course, yes, definitely. And you said before that you'd sort of cut the book in half and focused really on the Keyflowers. So I'm wondering if you plan to write any other books. Like, you must have other content that can be put into other books. What would that book look like?
Yes, the next book is going to be The Tin Soldier. That's addressing the peace issues. And that's why I'm wearing the blue scarf of the World Without War.
Oh, okay.
Because, war creates so much destruction and disharmony and crisis that goes over generations.
Oh. Yeah.
So this is really where we need to find peace.
Yeah.
In the world.
I agree. And it can't be more true than now, I would say.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Angela, for joining me. I've been really intrigued by this. I think this is a gorgeous book, and I really hope that other people will also take the time to read it, experience your journey as well, and maybe find their own Keyflowers and something that they can really use and as passion in their life. So thank you so much. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.